Jodie. How are you today?
Good, thank you.
Well, thank you for letting me interview you at your beautiful house.
You're welcome.
So I have some questions for you today about your childhood. Where did you say you grew up?
I grew up in Colwyn Bay, North Wales, Great Britain.
Oh, that's interesting. So, growing up over there, can you define any aspects of your childhood growing up?
I certainly can. I grew up in the countryside. I climbed a lot of trees, walked an awful lot with my parents.
Did you have any responsibilities?
No, my responsibility was school.
Oh, okay. As a child, who was seen as the head of your household?
My dad.
Oh, okay. The next question, how did your culture background impact your childhood? Or do you think your culture impacted you in any way?
I do find that being British, they're a little private in there with their emotions and stuff like that. So if I was going to cry, I would always go and be told to cry in private and on my own, because it was not something you don't air your dirty laundry in public. You do everything in private. So that is something that's very different from here, I would say.
Did you have any different cultural music you listened to?
Definitely more rave music.
Okay.
I found when we came to Canada it was all rock, classic rock and country music, and it wasn't rave music
So it wasn't
like I
your
was
style?
used to. Not at first, no.
Okay. How was your misbehavior handled in your household?
Well, usually would consist of a very long lecture on how do I understand how I've done anything wrong, and do I know what I've done wrong, and then being explained to what I've done wrong and why it's been done wrong, followed by being grounded.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm going to have to cut that bit out.
You don't have to.
Yeah, you're going to have to cut that out.
Who was responsible for handling it?
My dad.
Your dad? Okay. And why do you think your dad took that role of responsibility in your household?
Because he was the head of the household.
Okay. Did you have any siblings?
I do have siblings, yes.
Are you the oldest?
I'm the oldest, and I grew up with one of my siblings.
Okay. So do you find you have a lot of responsibility on your chest, or being the oldest?
Being the oldest, there's about 8 years difference between us. So we weren't very close as playmates, but I used to babysit for him. But you know, I was always the one that paved the way, I guess.
Okay.
The first has it the worst.
Did you have any chores before or after school?
No, never.
What about your school opportunities? Did you have a lot, or was money an issue?
I did my I did my high school in Britain, and I went to college in North Wales for computers. But no, it was not an issue, and I finished my college over here.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, so can you describe how the environment looked like over there?
Very green, from what I remember growing up in the hills. Very damp. And we lived on the sea, and there was mountains in the back. So
Oh, that sounds beautiful.
it was. Lots of castles.
Oh, really?
Yeah, all over the place.
Did you think religion impacted you, and did you think religion impacted you and who you are as the person you are today?
Yes, my dad was very religious when I was growing up, still is very religious. My mum wasn't so much at the time, so religion definitely impacted my raising, and definitely would be some of my beliefs today would have come from religion.
Do you mind sharing your religion with us?
I don't have a religion.
Okay.
I'm not religious.
Oh, your parents. I'm sorry.
My parents, yes.
Christian, Catholic?
Jehovah's Witnesses.
Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, my dad was. My mum wasn't at the time.
Oh, okay. The next question I have is, was education an important topic growing up in your house?
Absolutely. Education was very important.
And do you think your parents came from an educated background?
My dad, absolutely. My mum definitely came from a middle-class family of regular working Joes, so, you know, finish school, high school, and maybe college.
Okay, I've some facts for you.
Okay.
So, did you know that the typical Canadian family is like, has 1 to 2 children, and children live at home until they get married, go to college or university, or get a full-time job, which is usually in their early 20s. And, yeah. So, now that you know how a typical Canadian family is like, do you believe your family setting, like growing up, you would fit the Canadian family?
Growing up, no, we were a little different than the Canadian family, I would say.
Wow, that's interesting. Could you possibly share some differences that you believe in?
Well, I found when we moved to Canada, a lot of kids my age didn't have as strict a parents as I had. So curfew, I would never have been allowed to come home at midnight at 17. That would have been a huge no-no. Driving around in cars, absolutely not. But on the other hand, I would have, been allowed to go to the pub at 16 with my family and stuff and spend the night out. And so that would be different.
Okay, well, the next question is, if you could choose one aspect of your childhood, what would it be and why, that you could change?
That I could change. I think I would probably change the crying, not being able to be emotional when you need to be emotional, and instead of having to run away and hide it. That's something I do differently with my girls. If they want to cry, they can cry.
Okay, so you're more open.
Yes, definitely. That's a good one.
Okay, well, it was nice being here and getting to know you and your childhood. So thank you for letting me interview you.
You're very welcome.
Have a good night.
You too.